had the opportunity to work at some of India's top institutions like TIFR and IIT, internationally as well, of University of Exeter in the UK and University of Wisconsin-Madison in the US. So, like you mentioned, the backgrounds, the research in environments, the mindset, how do all of these work differently in the India, UK, and US? What are the changes that stands out, or what are some things that are similar?
Yeah. Okay. In terms of science, I mean, lots of things are similar and different at the same time. I can also confidently say in the last 15, 20 years, things have been changing across the world. Um, so let me start off with generally saying, in India, often as a student, when you come into science, you have a very idealistic picture about what you would expect as science or what it means to be a scientist. You come up probably imagining a movie in some senses that you will learn about some things, you will get trained to how to do those things, and ultimately you may be able to do it yourself. You will have some amount of independence to kind of study interesting questions. It is not often very clear that science is a very joint venture where you work as part of a team, where you have to focus on certain questions and decide the questions themselves. There's a lot of effort which needs to be put in. Deciding the form in the question needs to be put in so that funds can be attracted to get it done. A lot of administration work to kind of create the systems on which all that work has to happen. That is what you start facing once you are into the system. So particularly in the Indian system, because a lot of systems do not exist in a proper way or a fully functional way. While doing research in India, you will be often fighting with the system. You may not have certain resources. You may have certain resources, but their access is blocked because of some stupid system in between, which you have to run around somebody to get it done or get permissions. You may have competition because a lot of people are fighting for the same thing. Not get slots for a microscope, not get enough amount of quantity of a certain chemical, which is very precious, things like that. So we are used to more fighting on resources, like because of our economic standing in India. Outside India, things are slightly different in that perspective. In US labs, they are often more well funded. So these issues may not be often there. So I was there in the University of Wisconsin-Madison in a pretty big lab, and they had a dedicated lab manager, experimental lab manager, who took care of what are the things experiment-wise is required. There was a separate person who was in charge of all instruments, like a technical engineering manager, because it was a biophysics kind of lab. So they were, it was a lab of Dr. David Schwartz, who had, I think you guys know about this thing called like restriction fragment length polymorphism. RFLP was a technique. He was the person who made it, and also pulse field gel electrophoresis. So he essentially used physics to kind of make devices for in biological systems. Also, before Illuminatus proper sequencing became popular, he also worked on a system called optical sequencing, where you could essentially break DNA into smaller particles, and based on their size differences, like RFLP at a larger scale, to detect certain diseases. Yeah, so there were like these dedicated parts of the labs are there which take care of things, and you as a PhD student or a postdoc would be working on your project, and you have less amount of administrative duties. You can talk to these people to get certain things done, and things can happen. But again, at the same point in time, there are labs who may not be as successful. There are labs where all of this thing doesn't work. There are labs where there is the PI who has unhealthy relationship with you, where there may be excessive amounts of demands on you. You may be expected to be in the lab all the time, which we also have often in India in different parts. So it's a mixed bag where things can happen, but definitely outside the country, the amount of economic considerations are a little bit lower. In the UK somewhere sits somewhere in between. UK scientific establishments are not similar to the US. A lot of labs in the US are mostly larger and often have like more resources. In the UK, there are much more smaller labs. So it's not uncommon to have like labs which have only 2 or 3 students, maybe one postdoc. It's like small groups which work on that. Because in the UK, you can be a researcher even when you are a lecturer, even when you are like assistant professor. So there are these different way, like the amount of support you get from the institute can differ, but you can still be doing research. So the structure is a little bit different in the US, whereas it's like often there is a dedicated amount of economic um, support you get from the university, and then you get funds and grants and stuff like that. So this is the difference economically. But as I was saying, interpersonal relationships and those competitions and some of the toxic behaviors, that's kind of globally there everywhere. It's about you to find out what are these signals and you to learn that whether you can trust a person or not, whether you can work with a certain person or not, what's the style of your working versus the style of the other person. Since I have been through a few different institutes, I kind of got to know that, I got to learn that a bit well. So after my integrated masters, I had joined TIFR as a PhD student for a while. And the academic environment TIFR is very fast paced. It's very good in the sense, but like the best of the best kind of art there. So there are a lot of intelligent people around you, but there is also a culture which is not the most, I would say, great for like life. There is a lot of things which are built which makes it easy for you. So as a first year student in TIFR, we didn't have accommodation on the campus. So in the TIFR campus is in like the south of Bombay, but it's first year students, we were either living in Wadala or in BARC campus, which are like 1 to 2 hour, like 1 to 1.5 hours journey away. So in the morning there was a bus at 8 which will take us from the place, bring us here, and at night 9 there was another bus which will drop us back. um, so you can see there's a systematic way of like creating an expectation you should be in the lab all the time, which isn't the greatest way to do it. But then everything was there. It was a self-contained environment. There were canteens all the time. There's good views. There's a certain amount of, oh, this is life. Way to kind of establish that this is how life is, which can make you like biased in terms of your understanding. Once you are out of TFR, you may find it hard to reintegrate into normal life. Yeah, campus life often kind of gives you a little bit of like shaded, like shelters you from like realities of real life. IIT Bombay is again another example. It's in the center of Mumbai north sides. You have so much of space and a different kind of environment inside the IIT campus. But outside, if you are a postdoc in IIT Bombay, you cannot live on the campus because they don't have enough space. So you have to rent, Mumbai rent, and all those things. You understand the difference in quality of life inside and outside a campus. But abroad, you essentially are always on your own. So there's a sense of adulting which comes into you. So over the different phases of these lives, you will see different things. You'll discover things in a different light. But yeah, there will be always some struggle. You have to probably just choose. It's like choosing your battles. You choose what you can live with, what is it that you want versus what is acceptable and not. Um, Having those conversations with people around you to kind of learn about those things, and being honest to yourself is probably very important for those things.